Okay, great. Okay. So hello, everyone. My name is Miss Samantha. I am one of the teen librarians here at the Levittown Public Library, and I am honored today to have Paul Thivierge, who is the Community Development Representative for the Bethpage Federal Credit Union. He's responsible for running the VITA tax program, the Community Development Intern Program, Financial Education Program, as well as overseeing all the logistics regarding community events that Bethpage Federal Credit Union sponsors. He also has deep roots in the Levittown community, being a lifelong resident and a MacArthur High School graduate. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to turn over to you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you very much, Samantha, for that wonderful introduction. Like I said, my name is Paul Thivierge. I'm a community development representative from Bethpage Federal Credit Union. So basically what that entails is we do a lot of work with the community. So what we do is we try to serve the underserved communities on Long Island, as well as promoting financial education within our communities where our branches are, as well as we also host a volunteer tax program, which is the VITA program. We host that program for families and individuals who qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit, which is generally people who make $56,000 a year or less. So we provide a free tax service to them for that. It's completely free, so we save them a little bit of money. As Samantha was saying, I run the intern program here at Bethpage, the Community Development Intern Program. I'm one of the people who oversee that. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, like Samantha also said, I'm from Levittown. I've been a resident for my entire life. MacArthur High School graduate, and I'm here for the long haul. So thanks for having me.
Great. So why don't we start with, can you tell us kind of how you got into your position? Kind of after high school, did you go to college? And then, how did you get to the position that you're in now?
So it's a very interesting route that I took to get to where I am now. When I was in high school, I went originally to York College, Pennsylvania, and my plan was to study criminal justice when I went there, because I had always been interested in police work, stuff like that. Was always very interesting to me, something I always really enjoyed. But as I went to college, I discovered that it really wasn't for me after my first few semesters when I was there. And I had really, oddly enough, this has nothing to do with what I do currently now. I became really interested in radio, and I became really interested I was working at the college radio station. I had my own radio show there, and that was something that I was very interested in. I loved it. Now, meanwhile, while this whole thing is going on, I'm going to college. I'm getting into radio. I needed a job. So what had happened is I found out that Bethpage was offering an internship in community development. Now, at the time, community development was also, the internship that we were doing was very similar to what people were doing in radio, as far as like what a street team would be for them. So it's like very promotional type stuff. So I was like, okay, maybe I could learn, if I go to Bethpage, I'll learn how to do this promotional type stuff, as well as, but also as well as learning the financial side, because I always think that learning about finances is extremely important, whether if it's going to be a career that you're into or if it's just for your everyday life. So I think it's very important that, you get an education in it. So while I'm away at school, I'm interning in the summer for Bethpage, and pretty much I fell in love with the company. The people that I work with were great. Everything was really great. I mean, it was just a good atmosphere. I enjoyed what I was doing, and I started to get a passion for the financial side of things. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. This is something I like. So I wound up finishing up school and everything like that. I had a choice, whatever I wanted to do. I was still interning at Bethpage. They wound up offering me an actual position there, not just an internship, which I accepted. And pretty much the rest is history. I I've been with the company now for I'm 28 years old. I've been with the company since I was 18, so I've been here for 10 years now. Um, and it's really been a fantastic experience. Like I said, it would have been never in a million years would I ever thought when I was younger going to school I'd be involved in this industry or this line of work that I'm in currently. But sometimes when you experience certain things, you can fall in love with a different area than you would never have expected that you would have in the first place.
Definitely, definitely. So would you say, obviously you said that you had gone to school for radio for criminal justice and then radio.
Yep.
So would you say that if anybody was specifically, if any teens were interested in, either financial education or working more on the bank side, in the actual branches, what majors do you think would be a good choice for them or a good path for them?
So I think always from a lot of people that work at Bethpage, a lot of people are either coming from the accounting field, or a lot of them are coming from the business administration field. That's where we see a lot of our newer, younger employees coming from with the college background. But I always say that the best thing to do to kind of get involved and college is a fantastic start. But while you're in college, to me, the most important thing that you're going to be able to do while you're in school is interning. And interning is going to give you a good experience into what the actual job is, because you before you work somewhere, you may have like this idea of what everything is going to be. But until you experience it and decide for yourself if it's something that you really want to do, then you could really make your decision on where you want to go with your career, and also what type of work you want to do in the finance industry, because there's so much to do. There really is. It's such, people think like, well, you just walk into a bank, you see the tellers, you see the representatives there. It is so much more than that. And like just what I do in general in my job, I'm not your typical financial employee. I do a lot of different types of things in the finance world.
Right. And I think one thing that's unique and great about, the financial world too, is that you don't necessarily have to have a college degree in order to work in that field. Is that correct? Would you?
That's correct. So in our field, a lot of what you see is, at the entry level position, pretty much anyone can really get that, as long as you have certain experience with handling cash and things like that. But you get that experience, you could be a cashier at a supermarket, and that's the experience. So it's very really anyone can get in at the entry level position. Where you really start to separate yourself is with the experience that you build. Because once you're able to get into our line of work and then move up, and you're gaining that experience, if you don't have a college degree, you'll see that the experience is just the same as having a degree.
That's great. Yeah. And I think that's always good too, because, I always say to teens that although college is one path, there are other paths to making, successful careers and stuff. So those who might not feel that college is right for them, that this is kind of another option or another path that they could go down, getting that experience and really building up their resumes.
Absolutely. I have plenty of colleagues that college just wasn't their thing. Sometimes college is it isn't for everyone, but you want to know something, when you decide if you don't want to go to college, that's completely fine. But make sure you're starting to focus in on what you want to do. Yeah. Because you don't want to sit there and waste your time doing X, Y, and Z job. Try to find out what you really like to do and what you love to do, and go for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's great because, again, this is one field that it really has for options for both paths. Because like you said, if you do feel that college is right for you, you can go into those accounting and business administration fields and take that path. So that's really very unique and very accommodating for really any path that they choose to do, which is great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So another thing I was hoping you could tell us, could you tell us a little bit, obviously you work, when we think finance, like you said, we think tellers, we think in the bank, obviously you have a different, unique position. So can you take us through kind of what your typical workday is like?
Sure. So my typical workday is usually our team. So the way our department works is we pretty much have split up all of our areas that we serve. So, for example, one of my teammates sees the eastern half of Long Island. One of my teammates sees the northern half in like Nassau County. Somebody sees the southern half in Nassau County, and then there is somebody who sees the western part of Nassau County going into Manhattan because we're starting to see a lot more business opportunities in Manhattan and the tri-state area. So so usually what we do is like for our team, usually we meet in the morning, we give updates of what's going on. And then a lot of our day is reaching out to our contacts and seeing what opportunities do they have in their area, as far as what can we do to help the community in that area, whether it be us coming in and doing a seminar, is it us sponsoring an event that's going on? Is it us doing work with a nonprofit organization? It's a lot of our department does a lot of different things, um, but which keeps it for us incredibly exciting because it's never the same thing every day. It's always something different, which is great. But our typical day to day usually is that reaching out to contacts and seeing what we can do, and then going forward with the planning aspect, the logistics, and then we go from there. And then we follow up with whatever the plans are. So whatever it winds up being, we'll go and we'll do a seminar, like I said, or we'll go and work with an event or do a financial education and stuff like that.
Awesome. And so obviously, like you were saying, no day is typical. Everything changes depending on what projects you're involved in and things like that. So obviously your job assignments can change very often. So if so, how do you keep on top of, obviously different programs might require different knowledge or different skills or different things. So how would you say that you stay on top of all of that?
I would say it comes with time. When you first start doing a position like this, and it can be challenging because, like I said, we have our hands in a bunch of different areas. So it can be tough, but the key for me at least is to stay organized. As long as you're organized and you have all of the information that you need, it's really not that hard to keep track of what's going on, what you have to do. Because like we've had days where in the morning we're doing a financial education seminar, and then in the afternoon we're building a house with Habitat for Humanity. So it's like, as long as you're organized, you keep yourself together and you know what's going on, you review your schedule, and you prepare. When you have downtime, you got to really spend time preparing for what's coming up. If you do that and just like I said, just keep yourself organized, it's fairly easy, and it comes with time too. You get more comfortable as you go along.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to kind of go over some of the specific work conditions, obviously, with your career. So do you feel that you can live and work anywhere in the world? Do you feel that it's better in certain areas compared to others? Or
for my specific job that I have, I'm very lucky because these are skills that you learn that you can take to really anywhere. I mean, it really is. I mean, you can go, like right now, obviously I'm living in Levittown. I'm working for Bethpage. But if I decide, hey, I want to move down to Florida. I want to move to California. I want to move to Texas. There are these types of jobs everywhere in the country. It's everywhere. There is a need for financial employees. There really is, because no matter where you go, there are going to be banks, there are going to be credit unions, and it's really a great skill to have because if you're looking to relocate, like I said, like even if you can go to another institution and you start back at the entry level, you still have the experience on your resume, to build yourself back up to where you were, and go even higher than where you were. So.
Right. And then are there any particular licenses or certain certifications that you need for your degree? And if so, how does that work if you're moving from one state or one, place to another?
For that, the only thing that we do at Bethpage that you would need a license for is when you're handling investments. You would need your Series 7 exam that you need to take. Unfortunately for me, I really don't have too much knowledge about like the stocks and things like that and the certifications you need. But for us, we don't really need any special certifications. It's just kind of comes with the territory. The only thing we get certified for is when we do our volunteer income tax assistance program. We all are certified through the IRS. So we have to take an exam every year to recertify. But as far as what we do at Bethpage, that's all we need as far as certifications. And if you're going to be like a teller, or if you're going to be a loan representative, there's not really many certifications you have to go through.
Okay, so my other question would be too, are there any limitations to your personal or social life? Is it pretty much a 9 to 5 situation, or how does that work?
For our job, it is not 9 to 5. We have plenty of early mornings and we have plenty of late evenings. But with that being said, Bethpage is very accommodating with our work-life balance. That's one of the things that they hold most important. They do think it's important that you have time off and that you have time to do, to have a social life, to be with your family and stuff like that, which is very important. In my opinion, having a good work-life balance is the most important part of because you can't be all work all the time. That's how you burn yourself out. There's more and more studies coming out that people need time off. People need, to have social interaction with people other than the people that they work with. Our human resources team here at Bethpage actually just over the past year sent us like a thing on what's called burnout, which is when you're just kind of burning the candle at both ends, and you can really wear yourself out. And it affects, at the end of the day, if you're burnt out, it's going to affect your performance at work anyway. So they try to avoid that as much as possible. As far as my schedule goes, like I said, we have days where we start at 6 a.m. We're actually going to be working the Jones Beach Air Show next weekend. So that's a early 6 a.m. start for us to get everything ready for the guests of the air show. And like I said, we have plenty of nights where we're doing financial seminars, and we'll be out till 10 o'clock at night doing stuff like that. So for our job, you have to be flexible. For other jobs in the credit union, you would have, it could be 9 to 5. So it really depends on what you're doing.
Just depending on kind of the position that you've accepted. And then obviously you personally are doing a bunch of different events. So obviously there's some travel that comes with your job, I would assume, yes. Right? Do you do a lot of travel? Is it how would you classify that?
So when we were when I was an intern, I did a lot of travel. There was we were going to events all over Long Island. So being from Levittown, we would go out to Riverhead, we would go all the way out east. We would go to Valley Stream and go out west, and even go into the city on occasion to do events there. So it was always on the go. The coronavirus pandemic has obviously slowed everything to a screeching halt. So we are not on the road right now. As you can see, I'm at home and hopefully getting out of my house soon. I can't wait to get back out in the community and start doing things again. It's going to be really exciting when we get to do so. But yeah, it really depends on what's going on with us. If we have events going on, usually in the summertime is where most of our events happen. So in the summertime, we're buzzing around all Long Island and doing our thing. But right now, it's been a little different. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. The COVID-19 really changed a lot of things.
Yes, you could say that.
Yeah. And then another question would be, obviously you're working in teams and you're doing different events. You're obviously doing a lot of collaborations. So would you say that you do more work in teams or independently, or is there a balance? How does that?
There's definitely a balance. I would say maybe we lean a little bit more towards doing things as a team. There's a lot of projects that we work on that our entire team is really takes place in, because we all have like kind of our areas of expertise that we have in what our department does. Like for example, like the things that I do is more like I do a lot of logistical type stuff with the department. As far as like financial education, my teammate Jessica kind of spearheads that. And there's a bunch of other things that we do that, like our tax program. I have my teammate Ever, kind of spearheads that. So we all have our areas of expertise, and when we come together for a project, we kind of pull all of our we put all our minds together with all our different things that we know, and it helps make a more well-rounded experience for the project that we're working on, which is good. So yeah, we definitely, but it's still a little bit of both. We have our individual responsibilities as well, but we also do a lot of teamwork as well. So.
Nice. And then obviously you were talking about, obviously you do a lot with the tax time during tax time with the Vita program. Are there any other times of the year that tend to be busier than others, or is it kind of a nice steady flow throughout the year?
So our busier times are definitely in the summer. Um, and the slower time is definitely in the winter when our events calm down. Usually in the wintertime, we're just working on financial education and stuff like that. The springtime is also our busy season with our tax program, and kind of also at the same time getting ready for the air show that we put on, as well as just gearing up for the summer, getting everything kind of ready to go, make sure we have enough supplies and stuff like that. So spring and summer is our busiest time. Kind of starts slowing down in the fall, and then the winter it gets a little slow. But we definitely make up for it in the summer, but by all the events that we do. So it's a lot of fun.
Nice. And then obviously, this year has changed a lot, especially with now we do more Zooming and things like that. So obviously technology has definitely changed within a lot of jobs. How would you say the technology has changed your job? Do you see any changes coming in the future or anything like that that maybe teens should be aware of as far as maybe skills that they should be working on?
The advice I have regarding that is get familiar with Zoom, get familiar with anything digital. Our industry is moving digitally. In the future, I can see a lot of institutions going to maybe an 85% digital platform. They're looking to everything, and everything has been put into like hyperdrive during this time, because everyone now is like, well, if we can't have people coming into our place of business, what are we going to do? So the digital platform, the digital world is growing at the speed of light. It's really it really is amazing, and even the things that a lot of the financial institutions are doing right now, as far as the digital services that they're bringing, um, it's fascinating. So the advice I have to younger kids now is just really familiarize yourself with, which pretty much every younger person knows already how to use computer and use it upwards, downwards, left or right. But continue to familiarize yourself. Look up different banking platforms there are. If you're really seriously interested in going into finance, research the different platforms that these institutions are using, and just do research on that. Because, like I said, I can see the entire industry really going to an extremely almost digital only platform eventually, because that's where the future's going.
Yeah, definitely. And then I know you were saying that the way that you kind of got into this field was through an internship. So if obviously if teens were interested in looking into that field or pursuing that, how did you go about finding your internship? Was it through your college, or are there other ways? Like, how would they go about finding internships, part-time jobs, things like that?
So if you see, the way actually I found out about it was, I had a relative who actually worked for Bethpage, and they were said, "Hey, we have this department. It's kind of really neat. They're doing an internship. They're looking for interns. Why don't you apply and see what happens?" So that for me, it was just kind of a word of mouth type thing. However, we do work with tons of local colleges to try to get interns. The best thing to do to find internships, in my opinion, is you can either go through your school. Sometimes your school doesn't have the updated information, but really just look on the websites of all these organizations, and you'll see the internship availability. Because especially at Bethpage, we have, like I said, we have the community development internship. But we have internships within the whole company. Every department has interns. So, and that's where you're going to get a good, well-rounded experience of what the field is. So you're going to see things that you may love, you may not love, and to me, the only way you're going to really find out if it's something worth pursuing is if you actually experience it for yourself. So internships to me are the most important thing of your college career, because that's where you're going to really find out what you want to do.
Yeah.
Eventually college ends, and then you got to make the next step.
Yep, definitely. And then, for teens who are in high school now, obviously we think of finance, we think of math. Are there any other subjects that you would say that they should be focusing on if this is something that they would like to pursue after high school?
Um, well, math is always important in our line of work.
Definitely.
Mathematics is very important. I would also say, like I said, business administration and but there's also other, like I said, there's also other departments in the financial institution. There's marketing, there's like there's also accounting, there's investing, there's so many different things that you can get involved with. There's even like things like maintenance and stuff like that. Like stuff like that. If you go to trade school and you're learning how to do, for example, like commercial. If you're learning how to be a commercial electrician or something like that, there's need for that in every industry, but also in our industry as well. We're just like any other business at the end of the day. So we have needs for every type of position, whether it be if you want to be the CEO of the company or if you want to be me. You can really it's endless, the opportunities, really. So I mean,
you can kind of find a space. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And what you're studying in college, the only for that, if you want to get into finance, just like I said, just accounting, business, marketing, things like that are going to be your safest bets. So
gotcha. And then what would you say is the best part of your job and kind of the thing that everybody should be aware of, the worst part of your job?
Oh, okay, that's interesting. The best part of my job is, well, my favorite part is being in the community, being out with the public, and like actually getting to see face to face like the difference that we get to make in their lives. That's the best part. One of my favorite things to do is we do Habitat for Humanity. That's just awesome. Like just doing things like that. Like you're really just helping somebody, just get the basic necessities of life, and you're just helping them, and just to see the gratitude on their faces makes it worthwhile for us. The worst part, oof.
Or even just challenges, anything that you find challenging.
The biggest challenge, I think, is I want to say like the hardest challenge for our job is communication with outside organizations. Sometimes when you're reaching out to people, sometimes things get lost in translation, kind of things, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to do your job when you're just like. I'm sure you experience this at your job when you're just sitting there. You're like, well, can you just read the email? Can you just can you just read it? Like read it again, like, and then your questions are answered. Like kind of stuff like that, I guess. There's always going to be challenges with any type of job. I mean, whether it be personal challenges or, if you have challenges with your teammates or your colleagues, whatever. Um, for me, I don't really have too many challenges because I work with a really good team, and I enjoy what I do. That's the most important thing that I guess I want people to get out of this is that that's why I harp on the internship thing so much is because like you really want to have a career where you enjoy it. Not every day is going to be perfect, um, but you got to have something that you actually enjoy doing because then it makes getting up in the morning to go to work like a heck of a lot easier than if you despise what you do because then you don't even want to get out of bed. So it's very important to just get the experience and find something that you truly enjoy. And listen, if finance is not for everyone. You like I said, I wanted to be a police officer when I went to college. Now look at me, I'm working in finance. Never in a million years would have thought that.
Yeah.
But you just got to find the thing that you're passionate about, and then it'll make everything else like a lot easier. So.
Great. And then I guess my very last question is, if obviously we're going to be showing this video to all of the teens in our community, do you have any last piece of advice or any parting words of wisdom that you'd like to share?
Yeah. So I'm from Levittown too. I've been living in this community. I know how it is. It's a great place to live. My advice to you guys is live life to the fullest, enjoy yourselves. Make sure you get as much out of every experience that you have. Go to school. Take chances when you're in school because that's the time to do it. Learn new things. Knowledge is definitely power. That's definitely one thing I've learned. The more you know, the more valuable you're going to be in the eyes of an organization. Just give everything 100%. Really try your best in everything you do, and you'll definitely be successful and you get the most out of life and enjoy it. So I hope that helps.
Definitely. So I just want to say thank you again for joining us today. This was wonderful. And, I really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.